Hello everybody, good evening. It is evening here in the Kerbal world. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program for the Daily Kerbal. I got very enthusiastic the moment I stopped recording last time, went to the Mission Control Center and discovered that there were a ton of new contracts that I wanted to do. Planting a flag on the moon, something that I intended to go back there anyway, so I might as well. I got another rescue mission for a low orbit Kerbal and 2 new space station construction contracts. I was very excited for this and I nabbed them instantly just because I wanted to do them before remembering that unfortunately, in order to be able to construct a space station that I would, that I'm actually okay with, we're still lacking parts. Now, one of the main parts that you're going to be needing, because most requirements for space stations almost always in the contract is you're going to need a facility large enough to support X amount of Kerbals, right? Usually it's like 5 at the start, and then expanding stations later will require you to put in more. These hitchhiker storage containers, I believe, are the bread and butter for that. It's not a command module. It's literally just a life pod, where it's living quarters in space, and it has a crew capacity of 4. But it's this is what you're going to use for that more often than not. I can live without having this because until we get more science in the future, we can always just add more of these on later. And until then, we could make do with... Where is it? It is right... Come on, where are you? There you are. We can make do with these, right? We can find a way to make an aesthetically pleasing space station that uses these crew cabins as living quarters temporarily until we manage to unlock these parts. What we can't do without, however, is the Clampotron docking port. Now, our current docking port is the Clampotron docking port Junior, which is tiny. It's the radius of one of the. It's not even the radius of one of the L. What was the designation again? Not the RT, but I think it was the LT. Come on, where are those liquid fuel engines? There we are. The FL. Sorry, this is not. It's not even that radius, right? It's smaller than that, and I don't feel like building a space station like that, considering it's unstable. Those parts don't provide, it's not wide enough to be a stable connection. And I honestly just prefer using the regular Clampotron docking ports. So we're going to wait on the space station construction, no matter how much it hurts me. And instead, we're just going to focus on gathering the data that we need to perform this. How are we going to do that? Well, I guess we're going to do it by... flying to the moon again. We're going to have to try it. We're going to have to try to fly to the moon. The question is, how do we want to do that right now? I don't think that we have yet unlocked... Let me just take a look and make sure. I seem to remember... It might just be my memory playing tricks on me, but I think we unlocked... Where is it? Oh, it's here. Yeah, we haven't unlocked this yet. This is the probe core that I thought we unlocked last episode. If you heard me mentioning that we had this unlocked, that's probably because I just thought we did, but we didn't. This is a probe core that we need. Remote pilot assist available. That's something that I didn't read on the Stay Putnik, which is where? Stay Putnik is here. It says remote pilot assist available. For some reason it didn't work. I wonder if it was because I didn't put proper communication equipment on it. That may be it. Maybe because I didn't have communications equipment on it. If that's actually the case, then I'm a big idiot, because you need communication on it. You need communication on an unmanned thing, otherwise how are you going to tell it what to do? Anyway, for now, I think I'm just looking for... I will give this a shot. I will attempt this one last time. Do we have the moon saved? We do not. Alright, then let's just for the sake of experimentation, I'm going to build one of these just to make it very simple. Put some... let's put the smaller one on there, I guess. An adapter. Liquid fuel engine, liquid fuel tank, sorry, and a liquid fuel engine on the bottom. An antenna. A battery pack. And 2 solar panels. Okay. And I'm going to call this the probe test. No, I'm going to call it the Stay Putnik test. Okay, this actually does have an antenna on it right now, so there's no excuse for communication not to be working. All I want to see is if the SAS works. Sputnik test has no operational SAS module and no pilots aboard. No operational SAS module. Huh. What if... Let's revert this flight to the vehicle assembly. Maybe it's just the command thing that I'm adding. What about this one? It's all the same thing. This one is just bigger. Let's see if that helps. Do I get a SAS module now? No, I do not. So it's got to be the probe core itself, doesn't it? Oh, we want it. It's idle. Well, I'm stumped. I honestly don't understand this. Anyway. Doesn't matter anyway, so I guess we're just gonna do manned moon flights then. So let's bring up Freya 2 and consider the modifications we need to make to this vessel in order to make it able to travel all the way out to the moon. We're just gonna attempt a flyby, perhaps an orbit this time, sending the craft out there by itself. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually, because we have a lot of parts on this and I don't want to have to redo all that, I'm just going to do that. So that will add about 75, it'll add 25% extra fuel on the last stage. But I think this is the stage that really interests us. Considering that we were going very fast the first time we launched this vessel, I think we can afford to add some more fuel onto this. Maybe one extra tank, about that much. And we got out there last time with a lot of fuel left. This may end up being too heavy. And we may end up losing a lot there. I'm going to call this Freya 3. And in the description I'm going to say, let's see if the extra weight, it's not how you spell that, this particular weight, it's the extra weight helps or hinders, sorry, moon flight. Okay, save it. Let's consider our crew. We only need one pilot on this one, and let's consider. He already has an orbit. Danzer does not, though. So let's take Danzer. She does not have an orbit yet. She has an orbit around Kerbol, not around the moon. Jeb already does. So does Valentina. She's landed on the moon. She's the only Kerbol ever been to the moon, on its surface anyway. Okay, and also Bill. Bill has not been around the moon either. Does this thing need anything else? I don't think it does. I think we're good. Gonna assume we're good. Yes. Freya 3, ready for launch. All right, let's go. Pre-flight checklist. We're ready. Off we go. Launch is still very stable. We're still gaining speed at a good enough rate. This time along, I'm very iffy about touching my pitch and my yaw during solid fuel boosts. But we do have enough winglets on this thing, so I assume it's not going to be a problem. I'm actually going to remember to do a gravity turn this time. May also slow us down too much. We'll never know. But anyway, today's goal is just to see if this vessel can make it to the moon. Because if it can make it to the moon, then we can then entertain the idea of adding extra extra components like a moon lander or a satellite that we can carry with us. Alright, gravity turn is started. There goes our... Okay. I didn't throttle up, did I? Yeah, we're not going nearly as fast as we were last time. Shouldn't be a problem, though. Just keep this aimed roughly that much. We do have more fuel this time. So, the golden rule for this kind of thing, I believe, is you put more thrusters on, you're going to go farther. But if you put more fuel tanks onto the same thrusters, then you're going to end up going farther. Faster and farther. Faster first, farther, respectively. Hope I didn't get that mixed up. We're still slowing down. Skipper is not a particularly powerful engine compared to those fuel boosters, and I don't like that angle. And I also don't like that height. This may end up working in our favor, of course. But, yeah, right now we're not equipped to go, you know, on rescue missions for now. So, oh man. You see, the problem right now is I don't know if this sudden, very low apoapsis is due to my failure in piloting, like my attempting that gravity turn at the beginning, or is it because we packed a bunch of extra fuel onto the vessel? Thing is, honestly, with the fuel that it had left from the last time we launched, it may still have been able to go to the moon. Like Freya 2 probably could have gone to the moon. Not necessarily to stay, but, you know, just to look out the window and see that it's there. Well, at least we are going to break the atmosphere. That's something. Who knows? This may still work out. We're not really gaining speed fast enough. The Skipper engine last time brought us a stone throw away from orbit. This time, it's going to struggle to keep our apoapsis above 70,000 meters. Yeah. Let's keep it going. See what we can get out of this. Might even just try to do this a bit. If we can't raise our apoapsis a bit faster. We're speeding up pretty nicely now. We're also burning fuel at a pretty fast rate. Okay, remember the golden number we're looking for is about 1,000 meters per second faster than we're going right now. This engine could do it if it had more fuel. If it had more fuel, it would be heavier, and it probably wouldn't have made it this far in the first place. That's the big dilemma in this game, if you're like me and don't calculate your fuel requirements ahead of time. But if we get like close to 2,000 meters per second with just this engine, then I'll be happy. Because look, we're actually doing it. We're actually coming close. Okay, ready to detach. There we go. Okay, keep us pointed at the prograde. I also totally still forgot that we have this left. Still got to do that as well. How much fuel could a craft this big need to get to the moon? Shouldn't be too big. mean too much. The fuel should be enough. The problem I'm remembering right now is that there also isn't a lot for us to recover from the moon's orbit, especially considering I literally have no science on this vessel either. Again, just because I'm an idiot. Really should have taken it with me. Although I think we did. No, that was our sudden change of heart Apollo flight, wasn't it? No, we actually landed on the moon and got a bunch of stuff from both orbit. But I should check that in the. I should check that in our archives later. Right now, anyway, this should be fine. So let's add a maneuver. There we go. Let's see how close we can get to the moon. Can we get any closer than that? That would actually land us. Yeah, we're probably not going to make it that close, but the closer we are, the easier it is to get orbited. A flyby is what I have like planned, but we'll see what happens when we get there. Although if we are flying by, then this is terrible. So I might actually need to be a bit more careful with that. Yeah, that's safer, I think. All right. It's about a 1.5-minute burn. Which means about a 2.5-minute burn. Orient ourselves towards our little blue maneuver node. And I'm going to wait till 2 minutes to start burning. Let's go. I believe what I am doing right now is referred to as a TLI, translunar injection. This particular burn at this moment. We're actually burning on time as I'm looking at this right now. So I'm actually burning early. I'm going to slow down. And we'll take another peek at around 30 seconds, T-minus 30 seconds to see how our speed's doing then. Yep, we got a lot of fuel. I could probably stay there in orbit a bit if I wanted. I think the literal only thing that I would gain from an orbit around the moon right now would be astronaut experience, which is nothing to laugh at, obviously. More experienced astronauts do help us out in a myriad of ways. Better pilots, for example, get like the more experienced, the more stars our pilots get, the more nodes they can automatically point to. That's extremely useful. Too slow. It shouldn't really matter, in the grand scheme, but just in case you're wondering, this is what it looks like for them. They're not even pointing to the moon, right? That's the thing that science fiction films have kind of fooled us on. They just, every time something flies in space, it points in the direction and it burns fuel constantly. Whereas what's actually happening is we're burning and then we just kind of stop after a while. Yep, that's larger apoapsis than I planned, but it's fine. And now they just kind of drift. There she is. There's the moon way out there. We have half a tank of fuel left. Orbiting the moon is harder than it is to then escape its orbit and get back to Earth, Kerbin. I'm going to call it Earth a lot of times. Just, get over that, I guess. We're on the dark side of the moon now. I'm actually going to disable our SAS. I have, like, it's been one of the most frustrating things to happen with me in this game, but it has happened several times before that just because I flew so long on the dark side, I then wasn't able to properly orient myself to do course corrections when I needed to because I left my SAS on and my whatchamacallits, my solar panels weren't pointed correctly towards the sun. I was just kind of sitting there. Nothing I could do. Alright. So, flyby at this point, I think. Well, let's do what we always do. Let's save scum it. Quick save here. And then orient us to retrograde. And let's orbit this baby. Test the limits of the spacecraft. What I want to do right now is I want to do everything that I would do with the spacecraft on a moon landing, right? This spacecraft would get into orbit, and it would be there in orbit. But the actual lander it would carry with it, right? So what I want to find out right now is, if I did this, how much fuel would I have left? If I end up having enough fuel left, then enough being like a very, subjective term, but basically what I want to find out is, if I had another spacecraft attached to this, would I still have enough fuel to get home? If I have a lot of fuel left over by the time I get back to Kerbin, then I can probably safely assume that this ship could carry its own weight and the weight of another vessel back to Kerbin with it. If it doesn't, then, well, it doesn't. Like, if I only get back by the what's the expression? By the skin of my teeth, or whatever. If I just barely get in there by a hair, then I know that this craft is way too heavy as it is, and it would never be able to carry another. Now, at this point, I think I'm pretty safe in saying that, yeah, this is close enough. The other thing that I want to figure out, as long as I'm here, and I can do this by taking a quick EVA report, or a crew report, actually. You don't have to do that. Oh, no, we're fine. Welcome back to the moon, everybody. This is our third time here, I believe. So, I want to take a crew report. We're in space near the moon, so 55,000, 57, even below, I imagine below 60,000, I'm not sure what the exact number is. But this counts as low orbit. This is important for, when we build a space station here, how high are we going to want it? We're going to want it close, but not too close. Like, easy to reach from the surface with minimal effort. So we're going to want to probably put it on something that counts as like the border of a low orbit, is what I'm thinking. Anyway. Do I want to? I'm still gonna. Yes, I'm gonna continue to pretend that we're on a lunar mission. Pretend that we're out here on the moon. No, I pretend that we're on a moon landing mission, because we are. This is a lunar mission. We are there at the moon. I don't think there are any extra EVA reports that we could get from here, so I'm gonna bring our orbit down to about 55 in an equatorial, or an even orbit actually. Not equatorial because we're on a slight incline, as you can see, but an even orbit, meaning that the apoapsis and periapsis are roughly at the same height. Circular orbit. I'm sure these things have technical terms, but I am not a space engineer, sadly. I wish I was. There we go. That's close enough. So this is as far as I would go with this. Maybe a bit closer, but if I went any closer than this, that would be minuscule fuel consumption, not something that I think I need to necessarily test out. Just to make sure that I'm not missing anything here, though. Do we have anything we can EVA report on? Nah, probably not. That's fine. We're pretty much done with this. Let's orbit the moon a couple times, maybe like once. let's start making our way back home. This is not a mission that's going to yield a lot of results for us right now. I also forgot to get rid of Danzer's shipwreck. This is not going to be an extremely, rewarding space mission as it is right now, but we're not going to come back home with a lot. Oh, crap. I did forget one thing. That's fine. Just take a crew report and keep it. Because we do have a contract to get some science data from space around the moon. So, yeah, we got that now. And look at all that fuel we have. First of all, look at how much easier it's going to be to get back into Kerbal orbit from lunar orbit than it was the other way around. This is the trans-EI, trans-Earth, or trans-TKI, I guess, trans-Kerbal injection. And then we're going to wait until we have contact reestablished, as we can see up here. There we go. Now I think I should be able to transmit that crew report. There we go. And that's our contract complete. Add another extra 40,000 credits. Nothing to laugh at. Now let's drift back home and get to orbit of our own planet first. Bye-bye, Moon. Nice to see you again. We'll be back many times. All right. Now, my fear about burning retrograde at Apoapsis is that we're going to get caught by the moon again, but you know what? I don't necessarily care that much. And there's something else I want to test out. People have been saying that I don't actually have to establish a proper orbit around Kerbal. All I have to do is get a periapsis, no matter how far away I am, a periapsis of 40,000 meters is safe for re-entry. So we're going to try it. Lost it. I'd really like that to be true. So as soon as this burn is complete, I'm going to quick save. We might even have enough fuel, honestly, to stop by and pick up Samri on our way home, but that's not the purpose of this flight right now. We'll have to do that some other time in the future. We'll consider the goal of today being that contract that we completed. 42,000 meters, and we still have over 300 units of liquid fuel left. Almost exactly 300 units of liquid fuel. I always look at the oxidizer first for some reason. 300 units of liquid fuel. It's pretty good. I can't honestly say if that would have been enough to carry an entire other spacecraft with us, but it's just a short distance away. Yep, we got caught by the moon again. That's great. So we're going to have to fix this a bit. I have to burn prograde a little. Again, we're trying to test stuff here. This is all a test. Wait for our periapsis to return. It will return, won't it? Please return, periapsis. I miss you. There we go. 45. There we go. And quick save. This is a situation from which we can always, burn some more prograde and put us back into stable orbit. But for now, let's see if this helps. I am so curious as to this, in fact, even though we are going to end up going around, I imagine, 3,000 meters per second at our final descent, and we're going to be landing on the dark side again. My apologies for that. You're going to get a very nice view of the fire and then nothing. Yep, over 3,000 meters per second. So we got to do this for science, right? I'm going to avoid slowing down entirely. Let's assume that all this fuel is spent carrying the rest of the second spacecraft with us. Let's say that we just barely managed to get home with very little fuel. So I'm just going to detach. And let's see what happens. Speed up a bit until the burn. There we go. Our velocity is 3,100 meters per second. Almost 32. And we're only now starting to slow down. We've got a heat bar. I wonder what that is for. It looks like it's for the antenna, I think. Could be for the heat shields or the capsule itself. We can take a look and see how fast our apoapsis is decaying. Pretty fast. Nothing is as of yet in danger of overheating. We've been flying for 30 minutes. We just reached periapsis and we're now going back up. We are actually going back up right now. Our orbit is not decaying fast enough. Like, we may actually make our way back out of orbit. Look at how much of the heat shield we've burnt through already. I'm actually going to speed this up to speed 4. See what happens. Yeah, we're climbing. Like, we grazed the surface of the atmosphere at the top of it, dipped through it, and flew right back out into orbit, which means that our periapsis wasn't nearly low enough. So, right, we'll just do another lap. So we get to 70. Now we can speed back up again. Alright, here we are. Take 2. Periapsis is still 44,000 meters. Still have a decaying orbit. Alright, here we go. Will we slow down fast enough this time? We're only going 2,800 meters per second this time. Yeah, that should be fine this time, yeah. We don't have a lot of heat shield left, though. That is a little concerning. Once the camera flips over is when we know that we've entered into the... We're going back up again. This is a third round that we're taking. Although our orbit is still declining. Decaying? Does orbit decay or decline? Decline would be like if it dropped in this direction, wouldn't it? Not if the periapsis was shrinking. Oh my goodness. I should have aimed much lower. Who knows if we would have survived the crash, but we'd be home already. Come on. Alright. Move it along. Move it along. Come on. I mean, we had to do this for science, right? This had to be tested. This is not something that I have ever done before. Fail to re-enter 3 times. But I think the lesson that we're taking away here from this is that our re-entry angle has to be a bit lower. Maybe a periapsis of about 35,000 meters next time. That might be enough to slow us down on our first. At least, you know, the second run. Maybe even the first. Come on. At most, the second run. Come on. Slow down by another 500 meters per second. 400, rather. Come on. Come on. Got a lot of very bored astronauts up here. Just want to get back home already. All right. No point in even looking at this anymore because we know for a fact. Yep, there's the camera just flipped, which means we're on a suborbital flight now. And we're not slowing down too quickly, but we are also dropping very slowly, so this should be fine, presuming our heat shield lasts. Because that's not a given anymore. Yeah, look at it go. Speed up. I'm getting bored. There we go. Alright, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're home. The local weather is exactly the same as it always is. Kerbin does not have any weather. We are going to be landing shortly at the middle of nowhere because Kerbin has no settlements. Thank you for flying Space Kerbal. I believe we're over mountains, which means at the very least we're going to get another surface sample. I'm going to jettison the heat shield again. Don't need that anymore. It's still stuck to us, obviously. Here, let me flip it off. I said, let me flip it off of it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Almost got it. Oh well, yeah, the parachute got it. Obviously it's going to go blow up in any second now. There we go. Alright. Not sure what explodes on a heat shield, but like it obviously would have crashed. Exploded? Eh. Are we in the deserts? Looks like we're either in the deserts or the mountains. I'm curious what biome we're in. Kept a crew report. Alright, very smooth landing. Let us... Can I transmit that crew report? I'm going to try to transmit the crew report. See if we have enough electric charge left. We do, okay. And then can we take another one? We can, alright. Some more science. Let's EVA her. Take an EVA report, and we're in the mountains, by the way. You can keep that EVA report, take a surface sample, keep the sample, board, and recover the vessel. Just, you know, some science brought back home at least. And that's pretty much it for this flight. Next time, I think we're gonna focus on building ourselves a landing craft, something that we can use to land on the moon for a second time, this time with a more complete crew, and do it maybe a little bit more professionally. As if we did anything professionally in this series, right? Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will see you in the next Daily Kerbal. Bye-bye.